Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, replaying a conversation in your mind over and over again? Or spend hours wondering what someone thinks about you? Look at your phone. How many times have you checked it today, waiting for a message from someone who occupies your thoughts? We've all been there. And I'm going to tell you something that might change your life. This mental habit is stealing your happiness right now. Think about it. While you're trapped in thoughts about others, what they said, what they might be thinking, what they might do tomorrow, your actual life is passing by unlived. That peace you're searching for? It's waiting for you on the other side of these obsessive thoughts. I've seen this pattern destroy relationships, drain creativity, and rob people of sleep, health, and joy. But here's the good news. You can break free from it starting today. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share wisdom that sages have been teaching for thousands of years, but in a way that applies directly to your life, your relationships, your daily challenges. No complicated terms, no spiritual bypassing, just practical truth that works. Stay with me, because the first lesson we're about to explore might be exactly what you've been searching for. It's about why thinking too much about others causes suffering, and the simple shift that can set you free. When we think too much about someone, we aren't really thinking about the actual person. We're thinking about our idea of them, a character we've created in our minds. This character lives only in our thoughts, yet we spend hours talking to them, arguing with them, and trying to figure them out. It's like writing a story where we control what everyone says and does, except we forget that we're the author. Think about the last time you replayed a conversation in your mind, imagining what you should have said differently. Or when you worried about what someone might be thinking about you. Are you dealing with the real person or with your mental picture of them? Almost always, it's the picture. These thought patterns become a kind of invisible chain. The person goes about their day, living their life, while in our mind, they're frozen in a scene we keep replaying. We believe we're figuring something out or solving a problem, but often we're just spinning in circles. The more we think about someone, the more solid and real our mental version of them becomes. We start to react to this mental image as if it were the actual person. We get angry at things they haven't actually done. We feel hurt by words they haven't spoken. We respond to intentions they may never have had. This creates a world of illusion. We think we know what others are thinking, but we don't. We think we can predict what they'll do, but we can't. We create entire relationships with versions of people that exist only in our minds. This habit drains our energy. Each thought about what someone might be thinking or doing is like a small leak in a water tank. One leak might not empty the tank, but hundreds will. By the end of the day, we feel tired and don't know why. The answer is simple. We've spent our precious energy on stories about others rather than on living our own life. When we're constantly thinking about others, we also create the illusion that we can control them. If we just figure them out completely, we think, then we can make them act the way we want. This is one of the mind's greatest tricks. No matter how much we think about someone, we cannot control their actions, words, or feelings. The only thing we can influence is our own response. Look at your own experience. Has thinking over and over about someone ever changed their behavior? Has it solved the basic challenges of your relationship with them? Or has it mainly created stress, tension, and distance? The path to freedom begins when we see this pattern clearly. When a thought about someone appears, we can notice it without following it down a long, winding path. There's my mind creating a story again, we might say to ourselves. This simple awareness begins to break the spell. Think of your attention as a precious gift. When you give it to stories about others, you have less to give to what's actually happening in your life right now. The sunrise you're missing, the child waiting for your true presence, the work that requires your full creativity. All of these suffer when your mind is elsewhere, wrapped up in thoughts about others. The alternative isn't to stop caring about people. It's to relate to the actual person in front of you, not the version in your head. It's to respond to what's really happening, not what you fear might happen. It's to live in the reality of this moment, not in stories about moments that have passed or might come. Remember the lake at sunrise. Your mind can return to that stillness, not by pushing thoughts away forcefully, but by gently recognizing when ripples of thought about others begin to disturb your peace. In that recognition lies the beginning of freedom. Now that we understand how the mind creates attachments to our thoughts about others, let's look at what happens to our inner world when we fall into this trap. This is where the real cost becomes clear. Have you ever noticed how tired you feel after hours of worry about what someone said or did? It's not just in your imagination. Obsessive thinking about others literally drains your life energy. The wise ones compared this to a pot with holes in it. No matter how much water you pour in, it leaks away. Every moment spent in these thought loops is energy flowing out of you. Energy that could be used for healing your body, creating something beautiful, or simply enjoying the miracle of being alive. Instead, this precious resource gets wasted on mental movies that solve nothing and help no one. There's a deeper level to this drain as well. When you fixate on thoughts about others, the energy centers in your body, what some traditions call chakras, become imbalanced. The heart center may become congested with unexpressed emotions. The throat center can tighten with words you wish you had said. The head center might feel heavy with endless analysis. You can actually feel this happening if you pay attention. Many people sit down to meditate and wonder why they can't quiet their mind. They blame themselves for being bad at meditation. But often, the real issue is that they've spent all day strengthening the habit of obsessive thinking about others. When they finally sit down to find peace, they're fighting against a pattern they've been reinforcing for hours. Think of it like trying to calm a puppy that you've been playing with excitedly all day. It's not the puppy's fault, it can't settle down. In the same way, a mind that's been allowed to race with thoughts about others all day won't easily become still just because you want it to. This pulls us away from one of life's greatest gifts, the experience of being fully present. When you're lost in thoughts about someone else, you're not here. You're not tasting your food. You're not feeling the breeze. You're not really listening to the person actually speaking to you now. You're somewhere else, in a mental world that doesn't exist. The middle path teaches us to avoid extremes. But obsessive thinking about others is an extreme. It's like trying to steer a cart by pushing it too hard to one side. Eventually, it tips over. When we're constantly focused outward on others in our minds, we lose our balance. Perhaps most surprisingly, thinking too much about others actually weakens our ability to truly care about them. Real compassion comes from being present with someone as they are, not as we imagine them to be. When we're caught in our thoughts about them, we're relating to our idea of them, not to their reality. Over time, this creates distance rather than connection. A young monk once asked his teacher, "How can I truly help others?" The teacher replied, "First, get out of your head about them." This simple advice contains profound wisdom. We cannot truly be there for someone when we're caught in a web of our own thoughts about them. Think about it this way. A mind filled with thoughts about others has no room for insights about them. It's like filling a cup to the brim with water and then asking it to hold tea. There's no space for anything new to enter. To truly understand others, we must first empty our minds of what we think we know about them. Now that we understand the problem and its effects, let's explore some practical ways to free ourselves from obsessive thinking about others. These are simple practices that anyone can use, regardless of their background or beliefs. The first method is what we might call friendly observation. When you notice your mind spinning with thoughts about someone, don't fight it or judge yourself. Instead, simply notice it with the same kindness you'd show a child who's gotten lost. "Ah, There's my mind thinking about them again. This gentle awareness is surprisingly powerful. Try it right now. Close your eyes for a moment and notice what your mind is doing. Is it creating a story about someone? Just observe without getting caught in the story. This simple act creates a tiny space between you and your thoughts, and in that space, freedom begins. The second practice is what some teachers call letting go. Imagine your thoughts about others as objects you're holding tightly in your hands. When you notice you're gripping these thoughts, practice opening your hands and allowing them to simply float away. You don't need to push them. Just stop holding on. This is different from suppression. You're not forcing thoughts away or pretending they don't exist. You're simply choosing not to grasp them. Like a leaf floating on a stream, you let them pass by without jumping in after them. A powerful variation of this practice is to name your thoughts as they arise. When you catch yourself thinking about what someone said, simply note to yourself, "Story about the past." When you're worrying about what they might do, note, "Prediction about the future." This naming helps you see thoughts for what they are, just thoughts, not reality. The breath is another powerful ally in this work. When you notice your mind caught in thoughts about others, bring your attention gently to your breathing. Feel the simple, natural rhythm of in and out. The breath is always happening now, in this moment. By connecting with it, you're drawn back to reality from the fictional world of your thoughts. Try this simple practice. Take 3 conscious breaths whenever you notice you're caught in thoughts about someone. Don't try to force the thoughts away. Just give your full attention to those 3 breaths. It's like pressing a reset button for your mind. Visualization can also be remarkably effective. Imagine your thoughts about others as clouds in the sky of your mind. Some are dark and stormy, others light and fluffy. But regardless of how they appear, they're all just passing through. The sky itself, your awareness remains unchanged, vast and clear. Watch as these thought clouds drift across the sky without getting caught up in their drama. One of the most profound practices is cultivating even-mindedness. This doesn't mean not caring. It means caring in a balanced way that doesn't swing between extremes of attachment and aversion. When thoughts about others arise, practice seeing them with this balanced awareness. These are just thoughts appearing in my mind. They'll pass. This even-mindedness is like a mountain that doesn't shake regardless of whether beautiful flowers or violent storms appear on its slopes. It remains steadfast. In the same way, you can develop a mind that stays steady despite the changing weather of thoughts about others. Now let's turn to what matters most to many of us, our relationships with others. How can we have deep, meaningful connections without falling into the trap of obsessive thinking? This lesson explores that very question. The first key insight is understanding the difference between genuine love and unhealthy attachment. Love sees the other person as they truly are and wishes for their happiness, even when that doesn't involve us. Attachment, on the other hand, is focused on what we can get from them, whether it's approval, security, or pleasure. Think of someone you care about deeply. Ask yourself, would I still care about this person's happiness if they chose a path that didn't include me? If the honest answer is yes, you're experiencing love. If the answer is no, there's likely attachment mixed in with your love. True compassion flows naturally when we're not caught up in thoughts about others. It's like the difference between watching a movie and believing it's real versus recognizing it as just a story on a screen. When we're not lost in the movie of our thoughts about someone, we can actually see them clearly and respond to their true needs. This clarity allows us to practice generosity without strings attached. We can give our time, attention, or help without secretly expecting something in return. This is like watering a plant simply because it needs water, not because we demand that it grow in a certain way or produce flowers for us. One of the most important aspects of healthy relationships is setting clear boundaries. When we think too much about others, we often either have no boundaries, always putting their needs first, or rigid walls, protecting ourselves out of fear. Both extremes come from being caught in thoughts rather than seeing clearly. Healthy boundaries come from a place of wisdom, not fear. They aren't walls that separate, but rather clear markers that allow both people to feel safe and respected. Consider a simple example. If someone constantly calls you late at night when you need to sleep, a boundary might be, "I care about you, and I need to turn my phone off after 10 p.m. for my well-being." Another essential insight is understanding that all relationships exist in a web of causes and conditions. No relationship exists in isolation. Each person brings their entire life history, current circumstances, and future aspirations to the connection. When we recognize this interconnectedness, we don't take others' actions so personally. If someone seems distant or irritable, we can remember that their behavior is influenced by countless factors beyond their relationship with us. Maybe they're worried about a parent's health, stressed about work, or simply not feeling well physically. This wider perspective helps us avoid the trap of obsessive thinking. A powerful practice is mindful communication. When speaking with someone, try giving them your full attention instead of thinking about what you'll say next or analyzing what they might really mean. Listen with your entire being, not just your ears. You'll be amazed at how this simple shift changes the quality of your connections. Try this experiment. In your next conversation, whenever you notice your mind wandering into thoughts about the person or yourself, gently bring it back to simply listening. Don't plan your response. Don't judge what they're saying. Just listen fully. Notice how different this feels from your usual way of communicating. Finally, remember that all relationships change over time. Nothing stays the same, including people and their connections. When we grasp too tightly to how we think a relationship should be, we create suffering for ourselves and others. When we can appreciate each moment of connection for what it is, without clinging to it, relationships become much more peaceful and authentic. We've come to our final lesson, where we'll explore how to take this understanding of obsessive thinking and transform it from an interesting idea into a living reality in your everyday life. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's start with a fundamental truth. Nothing in life is permanent. Your thoughts about others are no exception. They arise, they stay for a while, and they pass away, if you let them. Understanding this deeply can change everything. When a thought about someone appears and feels overwhelming, remember that it's like a thunderstorm, powerful in the moment, but guaranteed to pass. The wise teachers compared our minds to rivers. Sometimes the water runs clear and calm. Other times it's muddy and turbulent. But the nature of water is to purify itself over time if we don't keep stirring it up. Your mind has this same natural tendency toward clarity if you stop agitating it with repetitive thoughts about others. When you find yourself caught in thinking too much about someone, try treating yourself with the same kindness you would show to a dear friend. Many people beat themselves up when they notice this pattern. I'm so weak. Why can't I stop thinking about them? This harsh self-judgment only creates more inner turbulence. Instead, try saying to yourself, "It's okay. Minds think. That's what they do. I'm noticing it now, and that's a step toward freedom." This self-compassion isn't a small detail. It's essential. Trying to force yourself to stop thinking about others through harsh self-discipline often backfires. It's like trying to force yourself to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. Instead, create the conditions for natural change through gentle awareness and kindness toward yourself. A powerful daily practice is to build awareness of your thoughts in ordinary activities. When you're washing dishes, walking to your car, or waiting in line, notice, is my mind here with my body? Or is it off, thinking about someone? This simple check-in, done regularly throughout the day, gradually builds the mental muscle of awareness. Think of this like physical exercise. You wouldn't expect to transform your body with one workout. Similarly, you won't transform your mental habits with one moment of awareness. But with regular practice, just like with physical training, you'll begin to notice remarkable changes in your mental strength and flexibility. Community support makes a tremendous difference in this journey. The ancient wisdom traditions called this good friendship. Surrounding yourself with others who value mental clarity and present moment awareness creates an environment where these qualities can flourish. Consider finding or creating a group of friends who are interested in exploring these principles together. There's a beautiful story about a student who asked his teacher, "How long will it take to master my mind?" The teacher replied, "That depends. How often do you practice?" The student said, "Maybe a few times a week." The teacher smiled and said, "Then it will take many years." "What if I practice every day?" asked the student. "Then perhaps a few years." "And if I practice many times throughout each day?" "Then perhaps a few months." The lesson is clear. Consistency is the key to transformation. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll begin to notice subtle but profound shifts. Moments of getting caught in thoughts about others will still happen, but you'll catch them earlier. The thoughts will have less power over you. You'll find yourself returning to the present moment more easily. These are signs of genuine progress. Remember that this journey isn't about reaching some perfect state where you never think about others. It's about changing your relationship with those thoughts when they do arise. It's about freedom, not perfection. Even the wisest teachers still have thoughts. They just don't get entangled in them. I hope these 5 lessons have given you some valuable insights and practical tools to free yourself from the habit of thinking too much about others. This teaching has the power to completely transform your life, your relationships, and your peace of mind, but only if you put it into practice. If you found this wisdom helpful, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Each week, we share these timeless teachings in ways that can be applied directly to the challenges of modern life. Your subscription helps us reach more people who might benefit from these insights. And if you know someone who struggles with overthinking about others, a friend who's going through a breakup, a family member who worries constantly about what others think, or a colleague who can't stop analyzing every interaction, please share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need right now. Remember, the path to freedom begins with a single step. The practices we've explored aren't complicated, but they do require consistent attention. Be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, and watch as your mind gradually becomes a more peaceful place to live. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, may your thoughts be clear, your heart be open, and your mind at peace. Find yourself caught in thinking too much about someone? Try treating yourself with the same kindness you would show to a dear friend. Many people beat themselves up when they notice this pattern. "I'm so weak. Why can't I stop thinking about them?" This harsh self-judgment only creates more inner turbulence. Instead, try saying to yourself, "It's okay. Minds think. That's what they do. I'm noticing it now, and that's a step toward freedom." This self-compassion isn't a small detail. It's essential. Trying to force yourself to stop thinking about others through harsh self-discipline often backfires. It's like trying to force yourself to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. Instead, create the conditions for natural change through gentle awareness and kindness toward yourself. A powerful daily practice is to build awareness of your thoughts in ordinary activities. When you're washing dishes, walking to your car, or waiting in line, notice, is my mind here with my body? Or is it off, thinking about someone? This simple check-in, done regularly throughout the day, gradually builds the mental muscle of awareness. Think of this like physical exercise. You wouldn't expect to transform your body with one workout. Similarly, You won't transform your mental habits with one moment of awareness. But with regular practice, just like with physical training, you'll begin to notice remarkable changes in your mental strength and flexibility. Community support makes a tremendous difference in this journey. The ancient wisdom traditions called this good friendship. Surrounding yourself with others who value mental clarity and present moment awareness creates an environment where these qualities can flourish. Consider finding or creating a group of friends who are interested in exploring these principles together. There's a beautiful story about a student who asked his teacher, "How long will it take to master my mind?" The teacher replied, "That depends. How often do you practice?" The student said, "Maybe a few times a week." The teacher smiled and said, "Then it will take many years." "What if I practice every day?" asked the student. "Then perhaps a few years." "And if I practice many times throughout each day?" "Then perhaps a few months." The lesson is clear. Consistency is the key to transformation. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll begin to notice subtle but profound shifts. Moments of getting caught in thoughts about others will still happen, but you'll catch them earlier. The thoughts will have less power over you. You'll find yourself returning to the present moment more easily. These are signs of genuine progress. Remember that this journey isn't about reaching some perfect state where you never think about others. It's about changing your relationship with those thoughts when they do arise. It's about freedom, not perfection. Even the wisest teachers still have thoughts. They just don't get entangled in them.